Hey everyone! Today's hair idea was inspired by the History Channel show Vikings and the character Lagertha. During a really short scene in the recent season 4B, we see Catherine Winnick's character preparing and practicing for battle. I loved how her hairstyle has changed from that typical 3-paneled sectioning, so I decided to give it a try and I hope you like it. I started by making a U-shaped section that began at my temples and extended all the way around to my crown. For now I'm clipping it up so I can see where to mark for the following partings, which will run from the top to the bottom of my head on both the right and left. Basically, I'm separating out a mohawk-shaped panel that'll cut through the center of my hair, and I'm clipping it up so that I can work with the sides first. Moving on, you'll probably need a handful of small clear elastics, and you can see that I'm ready with my little Tupperware of ties. Now from what I could see of the actress's style during the scene, the sides of her hair were divided into 12 small ponytails, 6 on either side. Each one is swept up, smoothed down, and secured along the edges of the mohawk. This is actually not hard to do at all, although it did take me a moment to create. The first 3 on both sides were the easiest since I could still see my lines and where I was going, but the ones on the bottom were lower on my head and along the sides of my neck behind my ears. These took the longest and felt the most involved, and then I had to double check back and forth in the mirror that they were even. And I think you can see that the only tools I really utilized during this step, besides the elastics of course, was a comb for sectioning and some hairspray for hold and flyaways. When all the ponytails were secured into place, I took down the mohawk panel. First thing first, I separated a portion of hair about 2 inches wide along the front of my hairline and pulled that away with a style clip. To make it a little easier on myself, I decided to use a couple of pins to hold the hair behind this back, and then I went in with a little Puff Me texturizing powder and did just the lightest tease. I didn't really want a lot of volume here, rather I was just hoping for the slightest lift. And when it felt good, I smoothed and sprayed it back. Now before connecting everything together, I decided to string on some small silver beads. To do this, I used a piece of ribbon that I knotted into a loop on a dull embroidery needle. To hook on the beads, I put the ponytail through the ribbon and slip the needle through the bead. And then all you have to do is pull the hair through and push the bead down onto the elastic. There are several other ways to string on beads, and if you're interested in learning them or learning how to make your own hair beads, check out the description box below for the DIY video I made covering this subject. Now the braid I'm making here isn't exactly a braid, it's more of a weave, and I'm going to utilize the first 3 ponytails on either side. I started by crossing left over right. Then I grabbed another one from the right, and since my first was under, this one went over. The next strand was on the left, and I just followed the pattern. The previous left strand had been on top, so now it went under and then over. I'm not sure if I'm doing the best job at explaining this, so I'll have my Braidtionary video linked in the underbar too. Basically, each strand is brought in and weaved under and over, or over and under, depending on the placement of the previous one. For those of you who know how to knit, crochet, or weave baskets, it's basically the same concept. You should end up with 6 ponytail strands that are intertwined through each other just the once, and the hand hold involves 3 strands in each hand at the end of the step. I quickly added the 4th ponytail into both sides and then used my 2 halves of hair to make a rope braid. And the last 2 ponytails were crossed and wrapped around it in simple X-shaped patterns before I eventually tied the remaining ends to the bottom, and with that I was finished. As always, I'll have my social media links in the description, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button as I make videos every Friday and it really helps me out. And if you're interested in learning how to do Lagertha's hair from the Battle in Kattegat, throw me a thumbs up so I'll know. Until next time, have fun and keep braiding. Bye!